All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into smart cities. But, when you hear that term, you probably think of like flying cars and,
Robot butlers?
yeah, robot butlers and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's really more about how cities can use data to improve the lives of the people who live there.
Yeah, it's about making cities work better for everyone.
Right.
And that's where ISO 37120 comes in.
ISO 37120.
It's like a giant report card for cities.
Really?
It covers 19 different themes that help measure how well a city is doing.
19 different themes.
Yeah, it's not just about roads and buildings.
So it goes beyond just infrastructure.
Exactly. It looks at everything from the economy to education to air quality.
Wow, that's a lot to keep track of.
It is, but it gives you a really holistic view of how a city is functioning.
So it's acknowledging that a city is more than just its physical infrastructure.
Yeah, it's about the people and how they experience urban life.
That makes sense. But I imagine collecting data on all those different areas has got to be a massive task.
It can be, especially for smaller cities that might not have a lot of resources.
Right. And that's where I guess City Monitor 37120 comes in.
Exactly. City Monitor 37120 is designed to make data collection and analysis easier and more accessible.
So it's kind of like a tool to help cities become smarter.
You could say that.
I like it.
Huh.
So before we jump into how it all works, can you give us a quick overview of some of those 19 themes?
Sure.
Are there any that stand out to you as particularly interesting or maybe unexpected?
Well, you've got your essential categories like transportation, energy, environment, safety. But then there are some that might surprise you, like urban local agriculture and food security.
Urban local agriculture and food security.
Yeah, it recognizes that cities need to think about sustainable food systems.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's about promoting local food production and making sure people have access to healthy, affordable food.
So it's not just about relying on imports from outside the city.
Right.
That's a great example. What about something like telecommunications?
Ah, yes.
What does that have to do with a city being smart?
Well, it's all about connectivity. In today's world, having a reliable and fast internet connection is essential.
It's not a luxury anymore,
Definitely not.
especially in cities.
Exactly. And this theme encourages cities to make sure that everyone has access to the digital world.
Because it impacts so many things.
It does, like education, job opportunities, staying connected with family and friends.
Right, it's all connected. So it seems like ISO 37120 under is trying to paint a complete picture of what it means for a city to be successful.
I think that's a great way to put it.
It's not just about shiny buildings.
Or efficient transportation.
It's about creating a place where people can actually thrive.
Exactly. A place where people want to live, work, and play.
I like that. Okay, so let's dig into how this City Monitor 37120 actually works. The source material mentions something about using sensors on buses to measure air quality. How does that work?
So imagine a city bus just going about its regular route, but equipped with special sensors.
Okay.
And these sensors can detect pollution levels as the bus is driving around.
So it's like turning everyday vehicles into mobile air quality monitors.
Precisely as the bus goes through different neighborhoods, it's gathering real-time data on air quality.
That's pretty clever. What happens to that data then?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The data is fed into a digital twin of the city.
A digital twin.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
Not really. You're going to have to explain that one.
Okay, so think of it like a virtual replica of the city.
Hmm.
It's a computer model that mirrors all the key processes and infrastructure.
Kind of like a SimCity for real-life urban planning.
Exactly.
That's cool. So they're taking those real-time air quality readings from the buses
Yes,
and plugging them into this virtual city model.
that's right. It creates a constantly updating picture of the city's air quality.
So city planners can actually see where the pollution hotspots are
Exactly. They can see how the levels change throughout the day.
and how things like traffic or weather might be affecting air quality. Wow, this is starting to sound pretty high-tech. How accessible is all of this for cities that might not have huge tech budgets?
Well, that's the beauty of City Monitor 37120. It's designed to be surprisingly simple.
Really?
You might not believe it, but city officials update information using Excel spreadsheets.
Wait, Excel spreadsheets?
Yep.
That doesn't sound very smart city to me.
I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but think about it.
Okay.
Most cities are already using spreadsheets for all sorts of tasks.
True.
So it makes the data collection process really familiar and manageable.
Even for cities with limited resources.
Exactly. They don't need to invest in expensive software or hire specialized tech staff.
That's a really smart move to make this technology accessible to more cities. So they're taking this incredibly complex data from things like sensors on buses and then putting it into something as simple as an Excel spreadsheet.
It seems that way, but that simplicity is actually one of its strengths.
It makes it easier for cities to get on board with this whole data-driven approach. So what are some of the other benefits of using Excel besides the simplicity?
Well, for one, it promotes transparency.
How so?
Because the data is in spreadsheets, it can be easily shared and made public.
Oh, so citizens can actually see how their city is performing.
Exactly. They can track progress on different indicators and hold their leaders accountable.
That's great. It's not just about giving cities the tools to collect data. It's about empowering residents to engage with that data.
Absolutely. And another benefit is that it encourages continuous improvement.
In what way?
By tracking data over time, cities can identify trends, see what's working and where they need to improve.
It's like a feedback loop to help them make better decisions.
Precisely.
It's kind of like a fitness tracker, but for
Right.
cities.
I like that analogy.
It helps them see where they are now, set goals, and track their progress.
And ultimately become healthier, more efficient, and more livable places.
It's like giving cities the data they need to get in shape.
Exactly, and create a better quality of life for everyone.
Yeah.
It really is amazing to see this technology being used to make real improvements in cities.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested in. How does all of this actually translate into real-world change?
Well, let's take waste management, for example.
Okay.
That's a big challenge for cities of all sizes.
Definitely.
With City Monitor 37120 cities can track data on their waste, like how much is generated,
Uh-huh.
the percentage that's recycled, and even the efficiency of their waste collection routes.
So it's not just about knowing how much trash we produce.
No, it's about optimizing the whole system.
They make it more sustainable.
Exactly. And by analyzing this data, cities can identify areas for improvement.
Like what?
Well, they might see that recycling rates are low in certain neighborhoods.
And then they could focus on those areas.
Exactly. They could launch targeted initiatives like education campaigns or improve recycling infrastructure.
So it's about being proactive.
Right, instead of just reacting to problems after they occur.
That makes sense. What about other areas like public safety?
Public safety is another great example.
Okay.
City Monitor 37120U can track data on crime emergency response times and police and fire services.
So are they like tracking the location of police cars in real time?
Well, it can involve different data sources.
Like what?
They might look at incident reports, 911 call logs, or even data from traffic cameras or gunshot detection systems.
So they're gathering all this data to see how effectively they're responding to incidents
Exactly. And it helps them identify high crime areas.
and allocate resources better.
Precisely. It's like having a real-time pulse on the city's safety.
And I guess it also helps them prevent crime, too.
That's right. By analyzing data, they can start to see patterns and predict where crime might occur.
That's pretty incredible. It sounds like something out of a movie,
Well, maybe not quite that advanced yet.
but it's definitely moving in that direction.
It is, and the best part is that this approach isn't limited to just waste management and public safety.
Right. It can be used for all sorts of things.
Exactly. Transportation, energy consumption,
Mm.
even things like education and healthcare.
Wow, it really feels like data is becoming central to how we manage cities.
I think so. It's a whole new era of urban planning.
One that's based on evidence and data instead of guesswork.
Exactly. And it's not just for mega cities with tons of resources.
So smaller cities can benefit too.
Absolutely. Cities of all sizes are recognizing the power of data.
It's like they're getting a roadmap to a better future.
And we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
I can imagine all sorts of things like personalized services for residents,
Or optimizing traffic flow in real time.
and even predicting and preventing problems before they happen.
It's all about using data to create more responsive cities.
Cities that actually meet the needs of their citizens.
Exactly.
This has been so fascinating. I'm looking at my own city completely differently now.
I know what you mean.
It makes you wonder what data they're tracking and how they're using it.
And that brings up an important point about citizen engagement.
Oh, right. It's not just about city officials making decisions behind closed doors.
Exactly the success of any smart city depends on the people who live there.
So it's about involving residents in the process.
Absolutely. Transparency, open data, and citizen feedback are all essential.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly. The city collects data to understand its residents
And residents use that data to hold their leaders accountable.
and advocate for the changes they want to see.
That's how you create a sense of community.
And that's what makes a city truly smart.
It's not just about the technology.
It's about people working together to build a better future.
Wow. This deep dive has really made me think differently about cities.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
But before we wrap up, I wanted to get your take on something.
Sure.
We've talked a lot about the amazing potential of all this technology. But are there any challenges we need to be aware of as we move towards this data-driven future for our cities?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, technology can be a powerful tool, but it's not a magic solution.
Right.
We need to be careful about how we use it and consider the potential downsides.
Like what kind of downsides?
Well, data privacy is a big one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. As cities collect more and more information about us, how do we make sure that data is being used responsibly?
That's the key question. Cities need to have strong safeguards in place to prevent things like misuse, discrimination, or breaches of privacy.
So it's not just about having the technology, it's about building trust.
Exactly. Residents need to know what data is being collected, how it's being used, and have a say in how it's managed.
It's about transparency and accountability.
Absolutely.
What about another challenge?
Well, another challenge is bridging the digital divide.
The digital divide.
Yeah, not everyone has equal access to technology or the skills to use it.
Right.
We need to make sure that everyone benefits from smart cities.
Not just the tech-savvy folks.
Exactly.
So it's about making sure these technologies don't leave anyone behind.
Right. We need things like digital literacy programs, affordable internet access,
Hmm.
and user-friendly interfaces.
To create a more inclusive smart city.
Ex-
It sounds like building a truly smart city is about more than just cool technology.
Yes.
It's about taking a holistic approach.
And thinking about the social and ethical implications.
Exactly.
It's about using data to create a future where cities are not just smarter, but also fairer, more sustainable, and more human-centered.
That's a great way to put it. Well, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. It's really opened my eyes to the possibilities and challenges of smart cities. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. If your city could track just one more data point to improve your life, what would it be and why? Let us know what you think. And until next time, keep exploring the world of smart cities and how they're shaping the future we live in.